Fish stories are stereotypically a bunch of tall tales. Every once in a while, the fish on the other end of the hook more than measure up to the hype. When that happens, it's absolutely worth taking a photo, with the anglers who landed the following fish realizing that they should also weigh their prize for good measure. We're glad they did, because these record holders are some absolutely insane catches. We feature the biggest ocean predators ever seen with the 5 biggest fish caught on camera and spotted in real life. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. With that being said, let's begin. Number 5. Bluefin tuna, 1,496 pounds. The bluefin tuna is a spectacular fish and one that's got huge commercial value. That's why Ken Fraser was probably ecstatic when he hauled in a bluefin that ended up weighing a jaw-dropping 1,496 pounds. He caught the fish at Ald's Cove in Nova Scotia, Canada, and realized he had to get a picture with it. And that was back in 1979, when a picture actually meant something. These days, we're used to seeing people taking selfies with fish after they've been made into a meal, but this picture puts all of those to shame. The best part about his story is that he ended up catching the tuna with only a mackerel on the end of his line, proving that size really doesn't count as long as you know what you're doing. Most bluefin tuna are closer to a maximum size of around 1,000 pounds, which really sets this particular fish as something special. We're sure the moment of tenderness here didn't last long, however, with the earnings from that one fish being enough to make Ken a very happy fisherman that particular season. With those skills, he probably did quite well for himself back then, and we're glad we still have this little piece of history to show off what was probably the best haul of his entire career. Number 4. Black marlin, 1,560 pounds. They really don't make fishermen like they used to, it seems. This record-breaking catch still holds the all-tackle record and was caught almost half a century ago just off the coast of Cabo Blanco, Peru, which is also clearly painted on the side of the fish. That kind of community pride is awesome to see, although it'd be more comforting to see a local fisherman making these sorts of waves. With so many international tournaments drawing talent from all over the world who focus their entire career on catching big game fish, there really isn't much local engagement in such activities anymore. We can assume that the angler, with a name like Alfred Glassell Jr., isn't a native Peruvian, but he certainly shared the excitement when he eventually landed this enormous fish after one hell of a brutal fight to subdue it. His smile is quite apparent, and you can tell that he's quite pleased with himself, as he should be. This 1,560-pound monster still holds the very same record, although we suspect it will, like all records, eventually be broken in due time. Considering Alfred caught the fish in 1969, we're willing to concede that he's had a very good run so far. Mr. Glassell used a mackerel to bring this big guy in, with the tiny bait fish being all that was needed. 1,560 pounds is nothing to laugh at, and we can't believe that there are predatory fish this size just waiting to come across any unknowing victim. The good news is that most of them spend their time far offshore where we'll probably never end up swimming into their territory, but the fact remains that they can easily head to shore if they want to, and you never know how wild animals, even fish, will react around people. The black marlin's spiked nose is a definite issue for anglers, and more than one person has been unlucky enough to be speared by a thrashing fish. Number 3. Greenland shark, 1,708 pounds. Greenland isn't known for much, remaining relatively quiet in the international sphere. This isn't too much of a surprise, as it's a fairly remote and icy country. One thing it does seem to have, however, is a population of massive sharks that reside in the frigid waters off its coast. These Greenland sharks are mammoth fish, and one made for quite an impressive display when it was reeled just off of... We'll put that one on the screen. It's in Norway, though, not too far from its namesake country. Greenland sharks reside in the North Atlantic and Arctic Oceans for the most part, not tending to venture too far south where warmer temperatures are found. You might assume that such a monster catch might have needed supersized bait, but that's not actually the case. In true Scandinavian fashion, the catch was made after the angler in question, one Terje Nordvedt, fastened a regular old herring to his hook and tossed it over the side. We wouldn't have believed him if he hadn't decided that the moment needed to be recorded for posterity, with Terje graciously opting to pose next to his catch. It's an impressive display, and while he's trying to look distinguished and like the strong silent type, you can tell that Turget is as giddy as a schoolboy under that tough exterior. We absolutely support this because he definitely deserves to be proud of himself. For a fisherman, this is like the holy grail of catches, and most go through their entire lives and careers without seeing anything even remotely reaching this size. A few hundred pounds is an oversized catch by just about every standard, but a 1,708-pound Greenland shark is just nuts. One of the largest extant species of shark, the Greenland shark will always be larger than life. But it's also worth noting that this is probably because they actually have the longest known lifespan of any vertebrate on the planet, which gives them plenty of time to put on so much weight. Most, however, only reach a maximum of 1,400 pounds, making this particular specimen one of the biggest ever known. While not quite up to blue whale standards, this shark is without a doubt an impressive sight. The good news for people is that while the Greenland shark is a carnivore, feeding, we assume, on fish, so little is known about them that they've never actually been observed feeding by anyone to date. That could also be because of its hard-to-reach habitat instead of the fact that they're not all that aggressive. But that's good enough for us because it means there's very little chance of being caught unawares by such a huge creature. Number 2. Tiger shark, 1,785 pounds. Kevin James Clapson was just another contestant at the Blue Water Fishing Tournament when he caught a fish that blew his competition out of the water, so to speak. Clapson had no way of knowing that he'd eventually end up making history when he set out that morning, and we can safely say that he ended up owning that tournament hands down. An Australian catch, the ridiculously oversized tiger shark was subdued and caught in Ulladulla, Australia, which is as fun to say as its coast seems to be teeming with ocean predators intent on viciously ripping you apart in mere seconds flat. Tiger sharks are known man-eaters, which adds to the danger posed by one this size, although it should be noted that not much is known about sharks, with many experts claiming that they're not quite as worrisome as the world thinks. After seeing pictures like this, we're not willing to take any chances, because being caught on the wrong side of a shark isn't something that people are apt to do twice because of the fact that you're probably not going to come out of it in one piece. Even if a victim does survive, it's hard to get back to swimming again when you're missing limbs. So we think it's safe to say that the ocean would be off limits for us if we ever ended up on the coast of Ulladulla, which we have to say is a pretty charming name, despite the instant death lurking offshore, if we do say so ourselves. We also can't imagine how impressive Clapson is as an angler for being able to take on such a beast, and we're sure that the shark didn't just roll over and play dead. Being locked in a brutal struggle of life and death would absolutely sap our energy, and keeping a tiger shark on the other end of your line for hours would be quite an impressive sight, as long as someone else is doing it, of course. Kevin does look quite proud of himself in that photo, and we noticed that he managed to keep his glasses throughout the entirety of his day on the water, which makes him lucky just in that regard. We've lost so many pairs over the sides of boats in our lifetime that we could probably open up a sunglasses hut if we could amass them all together somehow. We're getting a little off topic here, but we just wanted to point out what a feat this was and how impressed we are that Mr. Clapson was able to haul in a 1,785-pound tiger shark while also being reasonable enough to get a picture for good measure. Number 1. White shark, 2,664 pounds. Move over, Jaws. There's a new heavyweight in town, and we can only be thankful that it's no longer able to terrorize seaside communities anymore. This massive great white shark makes us wonder why anyone ever steps foot in the ocean at all. When predators that are this size lurk beneath the depths, all it takes is being a little unlucky to go from a leisurely swim to becoming a messy mass of chum floating across the water's surface. When a shark this big decides that you're on the menu, there's probably not much that any creature can do other than to accept their fate. We're sure that many victims of such a prolific hunter wouldn't have even had a chance to catch sight of their attacker for more than an instant before it was lights out for good. That's probably for the best, however, because we would be much happier if we had no heads up before this thing bit our head off. The best part about its size is the fact that it would probably not have much trouble ending you, meaning that it would be a relatively quick death as far as being eaten as a snack is concerned. And let's be honest here, at 2,664 pounds, that great white shark would undoubtedly have seen any of us as just that, a snack. Even standing next to this beast in order to snap a picture would have been a daunting experience, and we would have ensured it was absolutely dead before getting anywhere near it, just in case. This shark is a real record breaker, making the list as an International Game Fish Association world record. It probably isn't much of a surprise that this fish was caught off the coast of Australia near Ceduna, proving that everything in Australia is probably ready to kill you. The angler who caught this fish was one Alfred Dean, who had one hell of a fight before he was able to finally land this monstrous catch. Astoundingly, this fish was caught back in 1959, with even modern fishermen struggling to match it. Even more interesting is the fact that it was caught not with regular bait, but with a porpoise attached to the line. You know you're hunting big game when you opt to use an actual adult porpoise to attract your quarry's attention, with Alfred's record-breaking catch being impressive no matter how you choose to look at it. Alright, Top 5ers, we have something very exciting for you to see. Make sure to visit our other channel, The Brilliant. If you like what we have on Top 5's Finest, then we know you will love what we have there too. But be warned, the videos over on The Brilliant are extremely addicting to watch as well. There will be a link in the description to The Brilliant channel, so make sure to visit us now. Or you can go to our latest video popping up on screen right now. Come on, click it. You know you want to. Oh, and while you're here, subscribe also. Heard it gives you superpowers. Anyway, see you soon.